So an opportunity has come up, which is exciting. An opportunity to get a bit of an office space for myself, which is something that I think often we associate with success. So by that I mean, if you start out in your bedroom, spare room, that's great. But maybe there comes a point where it feels like, okay, you need to level it up and add something to your business that I suppose builds a layer of professionalism or yeah, I suppose a defined space for which you operate that business from, as opposed to maybe something on the side or something that's very much linked to things you already have. And for me, yeah, I'm apprehensive about it, but equally I respect that financially it's possible, makes complete sense. Um, what I'm hesitant about is is it an investment I need to make in myself and the business for it to be better, or for it to operate to a higher standard, or will it create more opportunities for me? And I think this comes down to what I'd simply put as uh, should I be am I going to conserve cash? Am I going to conserve my resources, or am I going to take some of the built up resources from the last 6 months and invest them back into the business? And I'm leaning towards doing it for a number of reasons. For context, my wife's going back to work from next month. My daughter's going to crash. What that means is that both my wife and I will need somewhere to work from. We have space in the apartment to do that, but ultimately, I think it would be wise to maybe have a bit more space for both of us to do our jobs really well. And equally as well is that I think I typically am going to all my clients, and I think that's probably going to stay like that for the most part. But what I love to be able to do is say, look, if you come to me, come to Dublin, maybe once a quarter. I can bring you to the space. We've got some fantastic meeting rooms, some fantastic areas we can go for lunch, etc. Um, and yeah, I suppose give them a bit more of an experience that I can control a bit more, as opposed to going to them and just showing up to an office space. So anyhow, that's kind of what's going on. Beyond that, if I can summarize where I'm at with my business in one line, it's ultimately I'm trying to get a handful more clients in the coming months, and some very interesting conversations are happening, which is great. Uh, I anticipate the new clients will come, and to yesterday's video, to the point of yesterday's video rather, it's a case of being patient, and not being too lazy about it, because there's always more you can do. So when I speak to agency owners, a lot of the time they'll say, some new business would be good. I would quite appreciate some new business. I would like some new clients. And then you ask them what they've actually done towards that in the last 5, 20, 60 days. And they're either unsure or can't quantify it, or the answer is not very much. And I think it's an easy thing to push. It's an easy thing to do maybe when you're bored, or an easy thing to do when you're traveling, or an easy thing to do when you're not in your normal routine. Because when you're in the flow of doing work for clients, talking to clients, executing client work, that will always be the priority. And I think it's very hard to block out the time to say, I'm not going to work on existing business for now. I'm going to work on generating new business. And maybe for some people that's really easy because they love it. But I think for the majority of agency owners, it's something they do struggle with a bit after they've established their agency and after they've got their initial clients. So that's where I'm at with things personally, and business wise. I think that the idea of whether to invest or conserve is one that comes up quite a lot again with agency owners, in the context of, okay, your MRR is say 40 to 50k. Clients generally that are I suppose contributing towards that number are pretty sound, pretty safe. Maybe you have a couple of staff that you pay yourself, you've obviously got your bills, etc. And whatever's left, I think it's an interesting scenario a lot of the time, where it's like, okay, do I need to put more of this back into the business? Do I need to hire an extra person? Do I need to outsource some different work? Do I need to invest in a tool or a platform? There are generally always going to be options. There's always going to be someone willing to sell you something, and there's always going to be options for things that you can do that might move your business forward or help you do something better or help you do something in a more efficient way. So I guess from my perspective, it's just always a case of asking that question, okay, is now the time to invest or is now the time to conserve? And yeah, I'm doing it for myself right now in relation to office space, but equally, you can probably apply it to yourself in a lot of ways. It could be applied on a personal level too. Like, time is a resource, and it doesn't always have to be about financial side of things. So do you invest the 1.5 to 2 hours to go to the gym, work out, come back, shower, and then get on with your day? That's a decent chunk of time. I think that the general message around that for the majority of people, something like that would be good. Equally, it's a big commitment. Do you invest the 4 hours on a Sunday evening to prep meals? Do you invest the 1 hour each evening to speak to friends or family? All these things that are important and probably helpful are still a commitment. And it's a case of you investing, choosing where to invest each hour of your the 24 that you have in a day. So yeah, that's kind of what's coming up for me. And I think beyond that as well, one thing I always encourage people to think along the lines of is, a lot of the time it's easier to do nothing. A lot of the times it's easier not to think about this stuff. A lot of the times it's easier, contrary to that point, just to not think about it and just do it and see what happens. I know some people would probably subscribe to that, thinking it's not the worst idea, to be honest, just making it a quick decision and testing something out and seeing how it goes. But generally it never hurts to give something a bit of thought. So something I'm going to do right now, more or less after this video, is write down some pros and cons, just get anything else that's on my mind on the paper about the office space, and probably decide today if I'm doing it or not. And then really beyond that, I think for me it's just a case of getting my head down into to try and have great conversations with interesting people that I might be able to help over the next couple of months. So there'll probably be a few themes that we'll work through maybe together in relation to that. And I suppose beyond that, what else has been coming up? Not a tremendous amount today, to be honest. I think what was interesting to me when I hit publish in that video yesterday, and I was really happy with the format. Like, is it the most exciting video you've ever seen in your life? Unlikely. I'm looking at the screen because I just got the quote in for the office space. But anyway, is it the most interesting video you've ever seen in your life? Probably not. But it's just one video. The ambition is to create hundreds of these in this format that are very much a raw look at what's going on in the life of a business owner, in the life of someone that's operated their own business. And again, I have a couple of ideas for what that might look like over time. But for now, it's just going to be quite a raw, unfiltered version like this, where I just talk for about 10 minutes. So yeah, what's coming up the rest of the week? I think if I quickly look at the calendar, like, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing today, and this is why I wanted to do this as well, which is something that I think is really important for people. If you don't run your own business, Karen, and you've never done it, it definitely can be glamorized on social media, in particular things like Instagram and LinkedIn as well. TikTok, I think people do a better job on there of painting maybe a more realistic picture of what's going on in places. But my day, if I look at it, I mean, I finish work most days around 5 o'clock. Why? By choice, by design, for sure. So between 9 and 5 o'clock, it's just about to go 11, so there's 6 hours. One of those, I have an appointment today, so I'll be at the appointment. I hurt my back, for context. I've got one client call, so that's 2 hours gone, so there's only 4 hours left. I need to do probably at least 3 hours of LinkedIn content creation. So for context, I do that once a month. I'll draft a bulk number of posts, and then over the course of each week after that, I'll edit and schedule some posts. So it'll probably be 3 hours, and that leaves 1 hour, which is the next hour. And during that next hour, I've got essentially 3 to 4 4 sales related emails and follow ups to send, and one quick client action to do before a meeting tomorrow. That's it. I don't know if that's particularly exciting. I don't know if that's particularly surprising. To me, anyhow, that is a pretty standard day. I finish at 5, I make my family dinner, we eat it, we probably play with my daughter for a bit, we talk, as you do, put her to bed eventually, and then interestingly, that's a good point, I have a call tonight with someone based over in Vancouver, so they're 7 or 8 hours behind, so I'll take a call this evening, which is a bit of an anomaly for me, but that's what's coming up, and I think it's a very reflective day. Truthfully, I don't think there's anything in there that's too surprising to me. It's a pretty standard day, so I'm going to crack on, and yeah, we'll see where we land. Maybe the next time I do one of these, it'll be from an office.